and welcome back to another new edition of Windows on Current Affairs. And today we continue to embark over the many privileges Egyptians are taking advantage of when it comes to building the Egyptian citizen, building on the capacity of the Egyptian citizen, improving of his capacities, of his talents, of whatever could be invested on the Egyptian character, on the new Egyptian generations and everything. We're going to be embarking over the different efforts that were spent in the past decade to be able to bring us to where we are now. And of course, we're going to also take a quick look over the many mega projects that were taken and initiatives that were taken to be able to build on the Egyptian citizen and its character and improve the calibers. And we're very delighted to be having here with us live in the studio Engineer Amany Shennawy. She's a graduate of the Strategic Awareness. She had strategic awareness courses from the National Training Academy and member of civil society and international service organization. Good evening, Engineer Amany. How are you doing?
Thank you. How are you doing?
First of all, we have come a long way. I mean, like 10 or more years, 10 or more than 10 years before, we were devastated because of the a lot of negligence when it comes to many fronts, like the education, like the national security, for example, like the awareness of the people, like how we care for our unity when it comes to the national projects, like our economy impacting or imposing strong and successive economic reform programs to be able to develop and advance with our country. Lots of things. And in the past 10 years, we have come a long way. We have developed with our infrastructural projects, with a huge mega network of bridges and infrastructural projects and all that. And we have also improved the way our foreign diplomacy, the way the whole world is perceiving Egypt. We have retained our leading role worldwide and also regionally. We have come a long way. Let us start one by one, looking over or looking with joy, taking a flashback into 10 years of a lot of effort, a lot of strength that is being taken and spared in order to reach what we are now. And this is all to the best interest of the Egyptian citizen, right?
Right.
So where would you like to start?
I'm very happy to go through this journey with you from before 10 years where we started. I believe that before those 10 years we were working on plans that do not work. And now
plans that do not work.
Yes,
that's a good one.
Yes,
that's
not sustainable plans that makes us only go several steps and stop. At the beginning of the last 10 years, we went through sustainable plans. We went through a strategic plan, and if you remember, we used to say in the year 2030, in the year this is the beginning. We were planning for the year 2030 with all the United Nations areas of focus and points that we had to take care of. Maybe we didn't care about the environment so much before. We started caring about the environment. We started joining hands in Egypt between the government and the non-governmental organization. Each one of the non-governmental organization was going in a way away from the other. Everyone was making projects. Now there is the coalition of NGOs. It takes care of coordinating between the NGOs and their projects and their work for the country. So since the 10 years started, we're going through a strategic plan for the year 2030.
Right, that's very much true. You have brought up a very important element, which is the civil society work. Civil society is a driving force that nobody have ever invested on before. During our history and history of other, years before in Egypt, throughout our political life, we have never invested or taken heed to the people of the civil society. Civil society could be an alternative governmental work next to the governments. For years now, we have depended, we have initiated the power of civil society, and we have depended 50-50 on civil society and governmental work, and now we are harvesting the fruits of this sustainable plan. If you like to elaborate on this.
The government usually have the plan set, and the NGOs work around it. This is what's happening through the past 10 years, and it shows in our mega projects that take place in Upper Egypt. We have great projects of developing the villages. So when NGOs work with the government has a lot of efforts, big efforts that are much more bigger than the NGOs. But the NGOs go and help in the small villages, the youth too. The youth are involved in this, in the service of the project, the development project of the villages. This was the beginning, developing the rural areas and the villages. Also developing the people, because now developing a society is measured by developing the people.
Exactly. The reason that we are saying that, why, is that because the people who are members of civil society organizations, they have a passion for civil work, they have a passion for developing society, they have the urge, they believe in this, and they are not doing this for money. They're not doing it for a livelihood. So maybe that could be a driving force, or would add some power to development. And exactly, it proved so, that it's a very successful idea to invite civil society into the sustainable development plan, as we have planned earlier, 10 years before. Also, we have the sustainable development goals, which were very, very successful, which were a good idea. We attained them as soon as they were applied by the United Nations. We thought of adapting them and also applying them on our developmental plan. How did we work on this?
We had several projects that are connected to the goals of the United Nations. Education, health, environment, justice and equity, women empowerment. All this was going in parallel together, and still is going and improving. So it's the target that we had at the beginning, and the strategic plan that will take us to the end point with the achievement of the target, that is driving us until now. We're still in the year 23, so we still have 7 years ahead. A lot was done, and a lot is going to be done in the coming 7 years to achieve our goals, which I believe we are in our moving in our action plan towards the target. So one of the big improvements that is going to happen is the development of the person, the people. If you want to talk about development, So now the human capital index has to be measured and increased and measured, and the I mean all the circumstances is improved to take the people towards being better and being educated,
status,
being
of
better
course.
status. Yes.
And also, it's worth mentioning that lately, I mean, in the past 10 years also or more, we have established very powerful, successful initiatives that were taken by the government and the Egyptian administration to be able to empower the whole of Egypt, not only a certain spot, which is like economic or social or cultural, but was taking an overall look over the governorates of Egypt and the people of Egypt, the real citizens. And this was empowered by the civil society. It was all civil society made, 100% civil society, and empowered by the government. One of the biggest projects, civil projects done in Egypt's history was that initiative, and it was taken all over the governorates of Egypt, helping and improving the lives of Egyptians, empowering the characters of Egyptian citizens in the sense of empowering education, empowering health projects, empowering housing projects, empowering sanitation, empowering infrastructural projects, you name it. And nobody could ever believe that the outcome is going to be that overwhelmingly successful. We have seen schools established in many, outskirts of Cairo, or in the far governorates, where very little number of schools were established. They were scarce in the number of schools, and it was established, and you could see how education was improved. The same thing on the health file, the same thing on the infrastructure and housing file. That was a real success. If you like to talk about that initiative.
Yes. This initiative was, maybe it was the first in Egypt that takes the development from the most poor villages, the most needy villages, the faraway villages, the rural areas. It's always that the government has the plan, puts the plan, initiates the plan, has the budget, the bigger budget than the NGOs. The NGOs have the energy, have the passion, so it's the driving force. Together with the youth, there are a lot of initiatives that were youthful. Together with the people, the educated people in the villages itself, they helped a lot. They helped the women there in awareness, in all aspects. So together, joining forces, all together, made a great development in the rural areas and in the villages. And this was the right start. We always used to start from the medium level and start trying to pull up. Now when we pulled up from the bottom, from the most needy places, this was the right thing, and it's the right thing that happened in a lot of countries in the development. And this takes the development steps ahead. I believe this is going to be continued, especially health-wise and education-wise. Now we have a lot of initiatives for health. This is being monitored by doctors, and it's said that it's very effective. Screening, analysis, the health initiatives are going on through all Egypt, and it's it has a lot of beneficiaries. So this helps a lot in the human capital index, which shows the development of the people.
Exactly, and mentioning or taking it from where you ended it, the development of people. When we talk about development of infrastructural projects, digital transformation,
Yes.
an economic boom, tourism boom, the different investment projects, foreign investment in Egypt or improving education in Egypt. This could never be achieved without one solid foundation, which is building the Egyptian character, building the Egyptian citizen in the sense of empowering his awareness, reviving his culture, our very rich culture, boosting his eagerness for education, and facilitating the educational process for the simple Egyptian citizens, giving them full access to have hands-on all information and knowledge and power, like the knowledge bank, for example. Yes. I mean, the whole, wherever you want to achieve any project, you have to then go back to point zero, which is the Egyptian character. Investing on the Egyptian character is the first and foremost for any country. I mean, for any, I mean, not the Egyptian character, for this, the character of a citizen. And this is what we did. How did we do that?
The plan that was initiated, our strategic plan has a lot to do about education. We started digitalizing a lot of material for the children, and especially when there was the Corona time. Children were at home. They started using digital tools to achieve their education and their certificates. They were first afraid to do that, but afterwards they got used. There are a lot more to do, because the literacy, the illiteracy afterwards will be digital illiteracy. So there are a lot to do in the coming time to have digital transformation and digital tools with the kids in the school, for the people in college, and this is going on in a good way, and it will be continued until the education is transformed. So there are two very important points for helping developing the people, for the human capital index to be in a good state, the health and the education. Because if you have people with good health, yes, they will.
How do you assess both files? How do you assess both files? How far have we reached in developing with both files?
I believe that we reached midway, maybe. I don't have the numbers
or post
now.
Midway.
Yeah.
let's be fair, because we have reached beyond midway.
Beyond midway.
Establishing all those schools, the STEM schools, for example, nationwide, and improving with all those universities in Amany Jadida and other governors, and in Port Said, and in some far governorates. That's a real good step, strong.
Yes, maybe this will need some data, some statistics that takes us to know where we are. Of course, the government has all the statistics and knows where we are for education, where we are for health, and it's published every now and then for us to see it. And make sure where we're standing, what is missing, what can we help in. So it's
that's true.
It's going on in a good way.
Exactly. Speaking about the human, you gave a very important phrase, the human capital index, and probably this is where the story began. The human capital index. Human capital is capitalizing on everything that is related to humanity. The culture, education, awareness, patriotism, national security. Those are the basic things that we should build on any nation. On our long way towards development and towards prosperity, we have been capitalizing on those elements. And step by step, we have initiated several projects like the health projects, for example, that boomed everywhere to the extent that we transferred it to some countries in Africa.
Yes.
We have also initiated projects, housing projects. We have renovated districts and governorates, whole governorates, and made it into a totally new haven for humans. We have also built museums, historic museums. On top of them is awaiting the Grand Egyptian Museum and other very, very sophisticated museums like the Museum Civil of the National Museum for Civilization and other museums everywhere in every corner of the nation. So those kinds of projects, if it reflects anything, it reflects a mentality that want to build on the Egyptian character, not just money. Not just prosperity and that's it. No, building on the Egyptian character, capitalizing on humanity, improving with our awareness and all that. If you like to elaborate.
Yes, you always give, you don't give a man a fish to eat it. You give man, you teach man how to fish, so he will eat every day. So this is what we have to do with the people, with the children, with the kids, with the youth. They have to, you give them the tools. The tools is education and health. If they have both those, you will be having a capital invested in them, and you give them the tools to work, because no one works when his health is not good, and no one can work when he doesn't have the educational tools.
No one can compete without education.
And compete. And compete, because the Egyptians are very intelligent kids. We have a lot of scientists. We have very well educated Egyptians. We have professors, universities, which are ranking. This will make better education, better universities, and that we have the kids empowered. We
need to elaborate more over this particular topic that we are discussing now, but we're going to go to a short break and we'll come to continue our discussion with Engineer Amany, so stay with us. Welcome back. We're still on with our main topic, building on the Egyptian citizen, building their characters and their capabilities, building calibers also. Very delighted to be having with us here live in the studio our prominent guest, Engineer Amany Shennawy. She has taken strategic awareness courses from the Egyptian National Training Council. She's also member of civil society and international service organizations. Of course, we're very delighted to be having you, Engineer Amany, with us to discuss that important topic about, you said that, you were saying, we did not continue what we were saying before the break. You were talking about the very important elements to build a character, not the Egyptian character, but mainly a good caliber. In order to compete, you've got to get good education. In order to work and sustain projects and maintain those projects, you have got to get good education. In order to be able to improve your health file, you've got to get good education. I mean, education is the foundation of everything. But education without culture would not be complete also. What do you say about that?
The culture is very important. Each country has its culture. Egypt has 7,000 years culture, and we have it inside. We have it. It shows in some time, and it shows that the people are united. People are decent. So we always have the culture, and the people have to read, They have to have more education than the education. Everyone is educating himself now, especially online. People have all the information.
In order to have digital transformation, I've got to have an educational foundation also.
Yes.
I mean, education is the core of everything.
Yes.
But then something also affected a boom in our sustainable development, which is empowering and developing with the power of women.
Yeah.
Enforcing women is a revolutionary step. One of the initiatives also was focusing on women. Now, if you look at us today, it's normal to have 8 female ministers.
Yeah.
It's normal to have a female judge. It's normal to have female pilots.
Yes.
What else? Whatever, I mean, position, decision-making position, strategic position, sensitive position, anywhere in Egypt, nobody could ever dream of, even in a European country, Egyptians attained it. Egyptian women. What is the story?
The story is our culture. The pharaohs used to have queens. So it's our culture. We have equity.
Women leaders.
Yes. We have the equity since we were Egypt was there, the culture was there, and equity was there. The woman is empowered by her father, her brother, her husband. So women is equal to men. This was usually happening in Egypt. So
and great leaders were empowered by their mothers.
Yes.
Like Ahmus, for example.
Yes. Yes, of course. The Egyptian woman is a strong woman since the history. Now, there happened in some eras that this was lowered, the empowerment wasn't given enough, the equity wasn't, but at the end it's our culture. So when our government was giving a push to that in the last years, and helping the women, especially those who are not educated, to how to work, how to have vocational training, so that they can work, how to have their illiteracy, how to
eradicate the illiteracy.
Yes, to eradicate their illiteracy. So everything was given to the woman so that she's empowered, and the Egyptian woman is a strong woman. We really don't have any difference than men politically, economically. Our salaries are the same. There are places where the salaries for women are less than men. In Egypt, we have the same salaries, the same wages. So actually, the woman is empowered, and our culture, our government, and the NGOs are doing a great steps in this, especially in letting women have their IDs. There were women in the rural areas that didn't have IDs. The ID is the beginning of their having a job.
Exercising a political right also.
Yes, and the political right.
Mentioning the women in rural areas and villages and informal settlements, and there are no informal settlements here in Egypt anymore. It's all very developed districts. But mentioning the people in villages, the women, the illiterate, let me put it that blank, they are way more cultured and aware than women worldwide. We've seen great women in Upper Egypt and southern Egypt. We've seen them in the villages, in rural areas, in the outskirts of Cairo. I mean, they are not just illiterate, no, they have culture, they have a political will, they go to the ballot boxes, they cast their votes, they went during revolutions, they were dominating, I mean, in the front lines during the June 30th revolution, January 25th, everything. And this amazed the whole world. This spirit of women, this awareness, this culture also was taken and built on. And the sequence began ever since. Right.
This is true. This is the culture. because the culture, the woman knows that she is equal to man. The woman is maybe even the not educated women, the non-educated, they have. They know everything about the country. They maybe they see the television, hear the radio, the news, so they are aware of everything. So in the political process, they took their places and they were there. And as for in the normal life, we have a lot of women. Most women are working, and we have a lot of ministers, as you said, pilots, engineers, doctors, entrepreneurs, and this which make more job opportunities for the women taking care of their families, because there are a lot of women who are taking care of the family and spending the money for living. Those women are equal.
For years and years they have accused Egypt that there isn't enough gender equality, and there is a gender inequality inside some places in Egypt when it comes even to decision-making positions and everything. Egyptians were there since day one, but they never read history and saw before their eyes and stories and realities and the stories in history. The gender equality was there from day one in the lives of Egyptian pharaohs, and ever since different dynasties there were gender equalities. Egyptian women were there in the front lines, and they were leading lives, leading political lives, economical, cultural, you name it. So when it comes to, since you mentioned the gender equality and how far have we reached, it was just for us like a matter of some time. We were renovating ourselves, and we did it.
This is true, and will take us steps to the development. Women are half the society. So having women working, women being empowered, this will help in the development and in sustaining our goals. Because the women who are aware, who are empowered, they are a good family member. They help their children, they help their kids to be empowered and know that the working and working for their country and having social work gives satisfaction, because the social work it gives you a satisfaction of your social responsibility towards your country, towards your district where you're living. People should live and make good.
Of course, and on that note, we're very delighted to be having enough time, and it was a great privilege having you. It was a great pleasure having you today on Windows and Current Affairs, to be able to take a flashback into counting the many blessings and the many privileges that we have had and worked with our blood and tears, with our effort, we sweated for it during the past 10 years or so. Engineer Amany Shennawy, you are a graduate of the Strategic Awareness. You have some courses from the Strategic Awareness from the Egyptian National Training Council, and also you are a member of civil society and international service organization. I'd like to thank you so much coming over to our program.
Thank you very much.
It was a real pleasure having you.
Thank you, Zina.
Thank you. It's my real pleasure. And I guess that would bring us to the end of this edition of Windows and Current Affairs. Many thanks to all of you. Until we see you again next week, that's a goodbye.